Hello? Is this thing on? Ooh. What's up, guys? You've been missing TheSirenSayz back at it again with another Netflix series video. Now, I wasn't even sure I was going to make a video about this because I was just upset. And I'm like, you know what? Everything can't just be that I don't like this. You know? But I watched Partner Track on Netflix. It is a legal drama based off a book. Obviously, it's a romance book. And you can see all the elements of a romance book. The main girl who's perfect at everything but fails at love. But by the time the book starts, she has an infinite amount of options, or at least two. In this one, she low-key has three. And yeah, first of all, y'all not playing with me. I don't really like her enough for her to be with Z, but I know he's like a third option or whatever. Like they are heavily low-key hinting at that. Let's just get into character by character, okay? Well, what did I like? What did I think about the show? Before we get into characters, I was annoyed because I don't know. There were just aspects of it that I just really didn't care for. It was like it really played heavily on tropes to get through. So for me, this show is necessarily very. It's not a second watch type of thing. Like, it's not something that I would watch a second time. However, somebody kept me coming back, and we gonna talk about him later. But and it's not who you think. It's not Dominic Sherwood. But yeah, let's get into character by character. So Arden Cho, who I think was in Crazy Rich Asians, I haven't seen that movie yet, but I will, plays Ingrid Yun, a lawyer, super smart, wants to be partner, has been trying to do this for years and it hasn't worked out. But now she finally has the right ingredients. She just needs one more big case to put her in the favor. And so the whole show revolves around her trying to get this deal between Suncorp and Parsons to go through. And that's probably what the show is about. Her trying to be partner and the entangling drama of her love life mixing with the entangling drama of her work life. All her relationships crashing together in a cacophony of sounds, sights, and smells. Real sensory overload. So, she has two best friends at work. One of them is Tyler Robinson, played by Bradley Gibson, and the other is Rachel Friedman, played by Alexandra Tushin. Alright, they are the best friends at work. Rachel's character is that she can convince anybody to do anything because she's good at manipulating people, which also leads into what happens when she gets into a relationship. She's good at manipulating men to get what she wants, but she never, is serious about them. Tyler's character, like, he's, a low-key fashionista. He's really good at, social media and the law. So he's really good, like, at helping people with a status get what they need legally. And, yeah, he has a very good intuition with certain things, even if they go wrong. So there's that as well. There's also the additive of Ingrid's paralegal, Justin Coleman, played by Robbie Attal, cutie patootie. He is shown as a sort of whatever kind of nigga. Like, he doesn't really care. Shown like he's a 19-year-old working at the legal firm part-time. But then you realize he's just like that because he's not really a corporate working world type of guy. He has a deeper side. Well, the show shows it as a deeper side of him being more of an outdoorsman. So there's that. Then there is the man, the myth, the legend, Dan Fallon, played by Nolan Gerard Funk. Now I'm going to talk about him for just a second. It's not about Dan. It's about Nolan. I have been obsessed with this man for years. He is so attractive to me. I've been knowing about Nolan from before Spectacular. What you know about Spectacular? What you know? What you know about Spectacular? And mind you, I've never seen Spectacular all the way through, but I will this year. I will. Okay? Alright. So, I love seeing him in this role because I just like seeing his face. He's gorgeous. I was a little disappointed with the direction of his character, but like I said before, in Heartbreak High and Do Revenge, there always has to be that white guy trope of them being covert narcissists and misogynists, and they can never try anything better. Like, there's always going to be Justin and there's always going to be Dan. Like, there's going to be the white guy that's cool-ish, and there's going to be the white guy who's a total dick. And Justin kind of fits into the realm of, like, the other guy, where it's like, he obviously doesn't understand what he did right or wrong when he did something wrong, but he's not as bad as Dan, so he's redeemable. Like, okay, whatever. I feel like we could always be more complex, but unfortunately, being more complex would be showing a softer side to Dan, which wouldn't work in this context because people don't want to see people with flaws in a deeper context. But y'all not ready for that conversation. And I'm not ready for it either. Like, if I dislike somebody at the core of their being, I don't really want to see them at their lowest. You know, I don't really want to see how they became what they became, or if they could ever change. So you know what? I'll give it to y'all. I get it, but I wish Nolan wasn't the bad guy. Anyways, then we have love interest number 1. Well, let me... Technically number 2, if we're being very honest, is Nick Lauren, played by Rob Heaps. Never seen this guy. No, that's a lie. He looks familiar, but I don't know what I've seen him in. And then love interest number 1, Jeff Murphy, played by Dominic Sherwood from freaking Mortal Instruments. I don't know why I'm laughing. I don't know. Okay, apparently he's actually British, so he didn't really have to play an accent for this role. But I kind of miss his American accent. Every time I see him, all I can think is Clary. But it's okay. It's okay. So, how the show starts is she's on her way to get partner. She tries to get her way into this big case that Dan is already on because he's the golden boy of the firm. And then she regales her friends with a tale of Jeff. You know, they met at a party and they got spicy, and she really, really, really missed that feeling, you know. And she's a workaholic, but she felt like with Jeff she wouldn't be, which we're going to get into that. We're going to get into the fallacy of this. We're going to get into it. And Netflix, you're not slick. Just because both of these men were completely white doesn't mean the law of second love interest syndrome still doesn't apply here. Okay, mixed boys are the only boys that need to be saved. All the Sion sons, if you watch Spike, something you know what I'm talking about. All the second niggas need some appreciation as well. So Jeff ends up coming to work there under mysterious circumstances. Why is he working there? Who knows? And so she's just like starstruck, like, oh my god, he's here. He has such BDE. And he pretends that he doesn't remember that they knew each other and that they had a night together. So then she's kind of like off him, like, oh my god, he said he doesn't remember me. So she goes to a bar and she meets Nick. You know what I'm saying? She meets Nick, and he is just doing what he gotta do to impress her. They find out immediately that they have a lot of geeky things in common, so they instantly get to talking. Now, that is practically what goes on in the show for most of the show. Alright? That is just, you know, that is just what be going on here. Now, before I go into this, I forgot him because I'm looking at the character list and I don't see him, like, excuse me. But Z Min is my favorite character because he's gorgeous. I can't even. Guys, when I saw this man on my screen the first time, I was like, ooh. This is around the time when I was getting annoyed with, like, Ingrid's bullshit. But when I saw Min, I said, oh my god, wow. Sorry. Yeah, that is hot. Okay, that is fire. Oh my god. And when I saw him again later on in the series, I screamed. I felt like a fangirl. I don't even know this man. Apparently his name is Desmond Chiam. I will be looking him up. I will, because my God, give me one of those. Give me one of those. Just fine. Just got money. Just, oh my God. Oh my God. Talk about a preference. That is just the ultimate. Like, God, you broke the mold when you made that man. Broke it. And this is the reason why I continued watching the show even after I didn't like where it was going, because I really liked Z-Man. I did. I think Carter's hot too, but Z's on a whole other level. Z's on a whole nother level, and we need to discuss it. Okay? So let me just get back into the story and what I liked and didn't like. Long story short, as usual, Ingrid is so close to getting partner, but then gets sidetracked with her life. One thing that I didn't really like was how they made it seem like Nick was overbearing or something. And yes, he was going pretty fast, but like I say, hypocrisy, she was going the same level of fast with Jeff's character. And it was okay because she was more attracted to him. And here's the problem with that, right? If you want him to be some unattractive guy, and to be honest, Nick isn't really that hot to me, but in the show he's considered to be hot. And that's the problem. You can't say that he's good looking and rich and he's a lot like me, but you prefer the brooding, mysterious guy with obvious mommy and daddy issues. We can't play those games. Like, that doesn't make any sense. This is 2022. This is 2022. Do better. Do better. I'm sorry. No. I think the fact that Jeff was even an option was ridiculous. I get it at first when you're not dating anybody and you're like, oh my God, we'll always have that one night in London. I wonder if he remembers me. I get that part, right? But then when you meet somebody and they get you, they understand you, but they also help bring balance into your life so you're just not all about work, you can't just dump that because some guy who's like a little bit more attractive than the guy you're with, whose only thing in common with you is that he's also a lawyer, is starting to remember that he fucked. That doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. So I wasn't really feeling Ingrid. I wasn't really feeling Jeff. I wasn't feeling that whole dynamic. I was just like, okay. Jeff seemed like he was a user, and her friends kept telling her, he is a F-boy, he is a player, leave it alone, stick with Nick. And then she kisses him at the retreat. Like, Ingrid, I'm gonna have to get on you for a second, Ingrid. I'm gonna have to get on you, because there was no reason for you to do that. Like, no reason. Like, I don't care if there was something between them, if there was a vibe. You keep that vibe down. You keep it down. Like, nobody cares, Ingrid. Nobody cares. And it's like, I preferred Rachel and Justin's relationship. It was a little bit of a slow burn, but they found out that they complemented each other pretty nicely and that they both had similar ideals. And so, you know, they tried to make it work. It ended up not necessarily working at the end. Maybe in season 2 that will change, but for right now, that is what was going on. Like, I don't really care about Ingrid trying to be with Jeff at the end, and then all of a sudden nothing's going too fast and she's not completely flummoxed by the fact that he's in love and, oh, he's so serious about me. Girl, they're never serious until they want to be. And I know that the show was trying to show us that he wanted to be, but I wasn't falling for it. I feel like Dan was more genuine than Jeff. Unpopular opinion. And Dan is an asshole in the show, but he was at least an asshole to everybody's face. Jeff was trying to act like he was above everything, and he's better. I'm the prize, head ass. No, you're not. So she cheats on Nick. Nick finds out about it because she ends up sleeping with Murphy after the kiss, and Nick walks in on their after effects. So he ends up leaving her, obviously, and then we never see him again. Why is it that TV shows keep pushing the narrative that it's okay to cheat, right? That there really is no consequence for it if you get the person you want. It doesn't matter how the other person feels. And that you should cheat with somebody that's not right for you just because of hormones. Like kind of, because these are shows for adults, right? Porn Track obviously isn't for little kids. Why is it that you are showing adults that the only way is the raunchy way? Like, I'm sort of sick and tired of it. And And here's the thing, right? Her and Nick had a good relationship. What's wrong with showing that? What's wrong with that? And like, even in the show, they kept breaking up relationships. So like, Tyler's character was with a character named Anthony. They ended up breaking up. Tyler ended up cheating too, you know? And then Rachel ended up leaving Justin because he accidentally let the whole office know they were together, and that was inappropriate for the workplace. Like, none of the relationships that should have stayed. And I'm just like, I don't understand. I don't get it. So for me, I just ended up caring about Z way more. I'm just like, I hope she fixes this mess. Because what she accidentally did was like, damn near kicked him out of the whole business with the deal between Mint's family business and Suncorp. So in the end of the show, she ended up fixing it. Now, why I say that Z is low-key a third love interest is because you can feel the chemistry between them. You can feel it. I think she should just stay with Nick, but you can feel that there's some sort of corporate world chemistry that they have together, where it's giving power couple. It is. It's giving, if we were, we would be a power couple. And I don't know how I feel about it, but if it means that Z is in season 2, I'm here for it, just so I can see him. And maybe a little scene where he takes his shirt off again. So just a little bit of that. Okay? So yeah. One thing that did redeem this show for me, because it was starting to get really annoying and I was about to say that I didn't like it at all, was the ending. So in the end, she helped Suncorp get Ted Lassiter off of the board so that they can have Z's renewable resources be more of a main focus front. After that, her boss, Marty, gets super duper upset with her. Now, prior to this, we thought that Marty did not make her partner because she was a girl or because she's Asian and because he's prejudiced, which I really didn't like because he wasn't really shown to be prejudiced. He was just shown not to give a crap about anybody's nonsense except what influences the job, right? So I was just kind of like, so what? You have to have 2 misogynistic asshole white guys? That doesn't make any sense, right? But then it showed that the reason that she didn't make partner was because Jeff messed up. So they were going to make her partner, but then Jeff told them that she was locked up and that he bailed her out. And Marty tells her that, right? Doesn't tell her that's why she's not partner, but says that, how do you expect to make partner by not being honest? And brings that up and brings up at least Jeff told us what happened. And so she looks at Jeff and she's like, oh my God, he usurped me. You know, he was acting like, oh my God, it should be you. Really playing with everybody. Luckily, I never liked him, so it didn't matter one way or another if he acted like that. But like, look at that. Those 2 scenes redeemed the entire show for me. Redeemed it. Because there needed to be a consequence. There needed to be a real consequence for her thinking about Jeff more than her own job and her cheating on Nick. There needed to be consequences for that. There needed to be. And I'm sorry that she didn't get partner, because she deserved to get partner. But I'm glad that she's at least seeing that her just being okay with it as long as she has Murphy was not the right attitude. If you're gonna be a girl boss or whatever, it can't be this dick dizzy. Sorry for the language, but you can't be this dick dizzy. Get over it. Oh, I love the way she looked at him at the end. Like, she's like, oh my God, my world is pulling around me. And all I could think was, you know who wouldn't have done this? The guy who doesn't even work with you, so he couldn't have. And the guy who would never, because he has a good heart. Nick would not have done this to you. Okay, so if this show gets renewed, I want to see the fallout. I want to see the fallout of everything that just happened. So yes, this show is a decent 6 out of 10. Decent 6. What would have made the 4% better? If Ingrid was more of a relatable character. Just a little bit more relatable. That's just personal to me. I know there's lots of workaholics that relate to her. I don't really relate to her. 2, if she had picked Nick and stuck with him, and this show was more about her trying to get partner while also being a serious relationship that was fast, more than her juggling 3 different niggas. Okay. 3, if she was better to her friends. them abandoning her makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. She turned into an Asian Dan just to get partner. And it was working, except Jeff usurped her. But she never really did do enough for me to get her friends back. I feel like with all of the connections that she's gaining, she should have found a way to like get her friends the jobs that they needed. Yeah, so I feel like that would have helped bring the show up a notch if the friendships meant more. Instead of it just being there so that they can arbitrarily make up off screen and be like, I thought you had an extra pair of hands. Like, what is this, a movie? This is how friends make up in movies. You know, like something really bad happens, but they don't have time to set up to repair the relationship. So they come back at the end because her friends are generally good people and so they'll help her. It's like the ending of Cheetah Girls. It's like, we're just here for the dog, but I guess we still love you. That's literally what happened in the show. And I'm like, but it's a TV show. It's not a movie. You had more time to try and mend the relationship other than her like haphazardly kind of trying, but then spending all of her time with Jeff Murphy and not working on fixing her relationship with her friends. I'm sorry. I just wasn't about that. I didn't like that. I feel like she should have done better. As a human, she should have done better, and I'm not with that, okay? So yeah, it's a 6. Okay? Low-key, hard 5, soft 6, but I'll give it a 6 because Z is in this show and he brings it up a bunch of points. Z low-key brings the show up to a 7. Low-key. But he's not in the show enough. If he's in the show more, I would have brought it up to a 7. Okay? So anyways, the show is okay. Definitely watch it if you want to. Because there's lots of stuff that happened that I did bring up. Lots of dynamics with Ingrid and her family. And I did kind of like that dynamic. It showed that her father is kind of an asshole, but her mother is not. Hopefully we get more of that in the next season. With Ingrid and her sister, we're going to get more of that. I liked Wu Jae's progression. I liked it. We'll see how that works and her relationship with Rachel. Tyler got a new job, but he slept with the boss unknowingly. Hope he's happy. But also, fuck him for cheating on his nigga like that. Especially when the guy was willing to change. Like, yes, he was overbearing and thought he knew a lot, but then he realized he was doing that and tried to pivot, and then he just cheated on him and left and claimed that you need to change and metamorphosize. That's my problem. If you want everybody to be the bad guy, then do a comic book. That's where a bad guy is bad for the sake of bad. You can't try to add nuance to characters, but then treat them like they don't have nuance. And this is my problem with a lot of shows. They try to make people deep by adding just a little layer of that extra something that makes them more of a vigilante than a villain. But then you don't really commit to showing the full dichotomy of their character. You just sprinkle a little bit in there so that they do something good this episode. I guess we know why. But if they don't do something good, it's because they're a flawed character. Do a little better. Just do a little bit better because I'm not loving the writing here. But I'll give it a pass because it's a romance novel and romance novels be doing this a lot. So that's just about it here. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this and I will see you in the next video. I'm about to go watch the Addams Family Values today and then I'll make a video about it. I don't know when the video will come out, but it will come out. Okay. Anyways, thank you so much for watching my sires. Goodbye, Simma. Susu.